land on which we meet and paying our respects to their elders past, present and emergent. 76 years ago today, on November 29, the United Nations voted to establish the State of Israel. I don't think at any point in those 76 years could anyone imagine, after the long and storied history of the State of Israel, that we would be here tonight under these circumstances. The 7th of October showed horrors that we could never imagine, cruelty that could never be contemplated, pain that is yet to be relieved. When we watched with shock, at least I tried to empathise with the parents, with the grandparents, with the children who had suffered unspeakable losses, whose loved ones had been captured and kidnapped and taken to held hostage in Gaza, and tried to empathise. What would a parent feel like? What would a child feel like? And of course, as much as we might try and empathise, how can we really imagine the shock, the pain, the suffering of our guests here tonight? Meeting the families quickly before this event, I can tell you that I was struck, and I'm sure you will be struck, by their bravery, by their courage, by their perspicacity and clear-mindedness, by their positivity. In a country and for a people full of heroic tales and heroism, these people you'll meet tonight, these are the heroes of the Jewish people today. They've come to share their stories, their experiences, their pain and their hope. They've come to hug and to be hugged, and to say to the world, bring them home now. On behalf of the Melbourne Jewish community, I say to you all, you are our family, and like all families, we cry with you, we stand with you, we defend you, and we support you. And like all families, you are always welcome back. And when you're reunited with your loved ones, we hope you will pass on your invitation to them too. Nothing would give us greater pleasure than welcoming you and your brothers and your sisters and your children and your parents and your grandparents back to Melbourne. B'mehera b'yameinu, Amen. If everyone now could please rise for the national anthem, which will be followed by Rabbi Elad giving prayer for the hostages.
Prayer for the hostages. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, יוסף, משה ואהרון ודוד ושלמה, הוא יברך וישמור וינצור שבויי אחינו בית ישראל הנתונים בצרה ושביה, בעבור שאנחנו מתפללים בעבורם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, ויוציאם מחושך וצל מוות, ומסורותיהם ינתק, וממצוקותיהם יושיעם, וישיבם מהרה לחיק משפחותיכם. יודו לאדוני חסדו, ונפלאותיו לבני אדם, וקוים בהם מקרא שכתוב, ופדיה השם ישובון ובואו ציון ברינה ושמחת עולם על ראשם, ששון ושמחה ישיגו, ונשאו יגון ואנחה, ונאמר Amen. Prayer for the men and women of the IDF. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא הגנה לישראל, העומדים על משמר ארצנו וערי אלוהינו, מגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים, ומן הים הגדול עד לבוא הערבה, ביבשה, באוויר ובים. ייתן אדוני את אויבינו הקמים עלינו ניגפים לפניהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה. ישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ידבר שונאינו תחתיהם. יתרם בקטע ישוע ובטרם ניצחון. וקוים בהם הכתוב, כי אדוני אלוהיכם ההולך עמכם להילחם לכם עם אויביכם להושיע אתכם ונאמר אמן. Please be seated. On behalf of our hosts this evening, Mount Scopus Memorial College, welcome. There can be few communities in the Jewish diaspora more connected to Israel than the community of Australia. Many of us have relatives, close relatives in Israel, some serving in the IDF as we speak. Many of us visit Israel. We understand that Israel is the center of Jewish life and the place where Jewish destiny is forged, and we feel a love for Israel in our hearts. And now more than ever. In these terrible times, that sense of connection overflows. We've been engaged in fundraising, in advocacy, and above all, we feel the pain, and we share the pain of our brothers and sisters in Israel. We rejoice when some of the hostages are released, but we are aware, and we remain ever aware, that so many of the hostages remain in captivity. And we will not rest until we cease saying, bring them home. We will not rest until every hostage is free. It's a long way from Israel to Australia. And it must be very hard, particularly at this time, for families of victims and families of hostages to make this trek. But the families we're going to meet tonight have done so, to tell their story, to ensure that their loved ones are not forgotten, to meet politicians and raise support, perhaps to share their fears that the hostages and indeed the events of October the 7th are quickly being forgotten, perhaps to share their anger that the Red Cross is missing in action, and those organizations and those institutions to which we turn for help look the other way. We welcome these brave families, and we thank them for coming all the way to Australia, for being with us tonight, to deepen that connection, to help us understand the reality and the trauma of what they and so many families in Israel have suffered. And so, in this very, very difficult time, this terribly challenging time, we say to the families, thank you and welcome. I'd now like to introduce our moderator for the conversation this evening, Rebecca Davis. Rebecca is a journalist, writer, podcaster, and head of content at the Australian Jewish News. In 2019, Rebecca led a special investigation into anti-Semitic bullying in state schools for the Australian Jewish News. And her sustained reporting played a key role in initiating a government inquiry which resulted in mandatory Holocaust education for all Year 9 and Year 10 Victorian state school students. We welcome Rebecca and our visiting families to the stage.
Thank you for the introduction, Rabbi. Thank you also to Zionism Victoria, the Embassy of Israel, ZFA and partners for having me as your moderator on behalf of the Australian Jewish News this evening. Firstly, let me start by saying what a deep privilege it is to be entrusted with guiding these conversations tonight. To be here with each and every family member who's flown from Israel to share the story of their loved one. But these are conversations we so desperately wish we didn't need to have. October 7, 2023 has changed us forever, as individuals and as a people. 1,200 innocent souls had their lives cruelly snatched from them on that fateful day, and over 240 were taken hostage. That number now, around 155. Grandparents, parents, siblings, children, a 10-month-old baby. As stories have emerged of Hamas's savagery and the world's ensuing response, we have cried, screamed, argued, mourned, prayed, hoped. No doubt tonight will be tough. This is an ongoing situation, as we all know, and it couldn't be more personal. We may need to take a few pauses, so please bear with us. To our guests, we feel for your pain and how we wish we could take it away from you and your family right now. In the meantime, we're here to show you our love and support and join with you in unity, to stand with you and to listen. So please welcome our special guests tonight. Starting this way. We have Mika, Shani, Iris, Haim, Ophir, Tamir, Amit Papara, Tali, Krishna, Elad, Levy, and Alon, Kotler. Am I on? Okay. So to begin, I'd like to introduce Mika, Shani, to my right here. Mika's brother, 16-year-old Amit Shani, was kidnapped by Hamas terrorists on October 7. Mika and Amit were at home with their mother at Be'eri when the kibbutz was attacked by terrorists. While they were all captured, Amit was taken away with the other men of the kibbutz, during which time Mika and her mother were able to escape. Mika, welcome. Just to give our audience a bit of understanding, can you share with us what life was like on Kibbutz Be'eri before October 7?
So Kibbutz Be'eri is like really close to Gaza, really near the border, about 4 kilometers. And we always say that this area is 99% heaven and 1% hell. I always said that like that's the best place that I could wish for myself to grow up in. You know, it's like a big community, everyone is like a big family, and like the nature and everything, well, I don't know, that's like home. And it was my heaven, my personal heaven. And on October 7th, like everything got upside down. It was 99% hell and 1% heaven, maybe even 100% hell.
Can you take us back to that day of October 7? what happened for you, yourself, and your family?
So I'm not living with my parents. I have my own apartment in the kibbutz. I was messaging them all day, like we were in contact, and I lost contact with all of them around like 12 p.m., something like that. Today I can say that that's when the terrorists broke into our house. There were 7 Hamas terrorists. They all had guns. They broke into the house and then into the shelter. My mom, Amit, and we have 2 younger sisters. Emma, she's 12, and Rani, she's 9. They broke into the shelter, and Amit was trying to defend them. So he jumped on the door. He was trying to close it on them, and they catch him. My mom screamed at him, like, don't do anything. They are going to kill you if you don't do what they want you to do. Then they took everyone outside. They set them down on the grass, and they broke into the neighbor's family as well and took everyone out as well. My 2 younger sisters were obviously panicked and they were hysterically crying. So my mom hugged them, and when she hugged them and didn't look, 2 of the Hamas terrorists put knives next to their necks, and they took pictures with them and laughed, and that was like horrific. Then they took them into like a little road in the middle of the kibbutz. The original plan was to kidnap everybody, but then a private car came, so there was simply no place, like not enough place for everyone. And they tied up Amit's hands, and when my mom realized they were going to kidnap only the males, Amit and 2 other males from the other family, she was starting to cry and to scream, and she went to the commander, the one terrorist that was managing the entire situation, and she begged for her child life. She said to him, like, take me instead. She was trying to explain to him that he's not a soldier, that he's a teen boy. When he was kidnapped, he was still 15. He mentioned his birthday while in Gaza, a week and a half after. So she's trying to explain to him that he's just a teen boy, that he's in high school, that he didn't kill anybody, he didn't do like any bad. But he stopped her with his hand, and his other hand like went to his gun. So she took like a couple steps back because she realized she had her 2 younger daughters behind her, and the last thing they need to see is the mom murder in front of their face. Then they put him into the car. He didn't look at her. He was like very focused and quiet. She screamed to him like, don't be afraid, I love you, we will get you out. And then the car just drove away. She was left with the girls from the other family and the 5 Hamas terrorists around her. And in a second, they were all gone. Why they didn't kill her, I don't know. It's like there wasn't like a specific plan. Every group did what she wanted to do. So they just ran away to the only house that wasn't burned, and they hid her until they were rescued. At the time, my father was in his home. They were basically burned him alive. He's alive. But they burned him, they burned the house twice when he was in the shelter. They were waiting for him outside. I got a goodbye message. He told me that the terrorists are in the house, that they're trying to break into the shelter. They burned the house, he can't breathe. If he can't hold it anymore, he will jump from the window. He loves me, he trusts me to take care of everybody. Basically, he was breathing the smoke for about 12 hours until he was rescued. He was hospitalized, but he's okay right now. I don't have a house. I'm basically homeless. So when Amit will come back, we don't really have a place to go to. They also shot my grandparents. They broke into all the shelters in their neighborhood. My grandpa took the handle out of the door, so they didn't succeed to walk into the shelter in their house, but the entire neighborhood, they broke into everybody's house, and they just put them into a line and shot everybody. When they didn't succeed to walk into their shelter, they shot them throughout the door. So my grandpa got bullets in his legs, and my grandma got one in her liver, and one that came out from here and got out from the back. She was bleeding for 9 hours until she was rescued as well. She's 80, by the way. She been through a couple of surgeries. She's alive, she's fine.
Your grandparents are both fine now?
Yeah, they're fine, they're strong.
Yeah. Can I ask what goes through your mind when you first come eye to eye with Hamas terrorists?
We were all terrified. It's not a normal situation, and I don't know how can you describe it. I'm another level of fear.
Since Amit was taken, have you or your family received any information about him?
So I always knew in my heart that he's alive and that he's fine. But we didn't really know. We know that he got into the Gaza Strip alive, that they didn't kill him on the way. But that's all what we knew. I'm sure that you know that there are hostages that are getting released in groups, in small groups. And when the first group got released, one of them contacted us, and she said that she was with him, and that he's alive and he's physically fine. I'm sure that he's traumatized, but physically he's fine, and we hope that he will come back soon.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about Amit? What's his personality like?
I don't know. He's like a normal teen boy. He loves to be with his friends, video games. He's a surfer. Surfing is his biggest love. They stole his bird. He loves play football, basketball, whatever, any sport. Good student. I don't know how, because he's not study, but...
We might leave it there and we'll move on to Iris. So, Iris' son, 28-year-old Yotam Haim, was also kidnapped by Hamas terrorists on October 7. Yotam is a resident of kibbutz Kfar Aza, just 2 kilometres from the Gaza border. Iris and her husband live on a moshav, Sde Nitzan, around 30 kilometres from Kfar Aza, which was also attacked by terrorists on the same morning. Iris and Yotam were in constant communication until 10:45, when Yotam texted a final goodbye from his safe room, and all communication was lost and his whereabouts unknown. A week passed, and then Iris received some news that Yotam's phone had been tracked to Gaza. Iris, welcome. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you that you came here.
Can you tell us a little bit about October 7 for you?
Yes. In that day, we had a plan. We had a plan to go and see Yotam playing the drums. He's a music drummer, heavy metal drummer. and he was planning to go to a music festival in Tel Aviv that happened to be at that day at 2 o'clock, and we all bought the tickets already, and supposed to go at around 10. He was supposed to go at around 10 to take his guitar player from Tel Aviv and to go to this bar where they supposed to play. And at 6:30 a.m. he called us, WhatsApp call, and let us know that the kibbutz is attacked by missiles, by Kassamim, we call it in Hebrew, Kassamim. It's a kind of missiles, and that he is not afraid because as soon as he will go to the music festival, he told us that he was not afraid at all. He was very brave at the first half hour. And we also thought that, as you know, in this Gaza Strip surrounding, we are used to that after half an hour, they will stop the missiles and everything will be okay. And we will go to the festival. But after half hour, it didn't stop, and he started to text us that there are people wounded in the kibbutz, and nobody comes to help them, and maybe they are dead. And he hear Arab shouting in Arabic, but the people that shouting in Arabic, they look like soldiers, so he didn't understand what he is seeing. They dressed up like soldiers. And after 1 or 2 hours, he wrote us that the terrorists invade his room, and they light the gas in the room and started a fire, and then he was afraid. He wrote us that he's afraid. He said goodbye. I don't know if I will see you anymore. And was afraid that we will not have air. He wrote me, I don't have air, I cannot breathe. And we have some video from the room, from the shelter of a safe room, that is recording the shooting. 10:44, as you said, the contact with him lost. And since then, until after 1 week, we heard about the telephone. And after 3.5 weeks from that day, we just heard that he is there, that he is alive there. But we didn't know anything about his condition.
How, as a mother, I can only imagine the sense of helplessness of not being with your son, knowing that this is happening, but at the same time, your moshav is under attack. What was happening there?
Zdenitsan was not on attack.
Oh, was it?
No, it's a little bit further, and the terrorists didn't go there. They tried, but they didn't succeed. So we were not under attack of terrorists, but all the way. It's not 30 kilometers. I think it's maybe 15 or 20 kilometers. If we go outside our house, we were killed also, because the terrorist was in all the way. They was there on the road, just waiting, because this was the area of the party also. So all the way between our moshav and the kibbutz Kfar Aza, it's this road 232 was full with terrorists all over. My husband wanted to go out and go to help him. He said, Yotam, we are coming. Wait, it will stop, I will come. As we always do when something like this happens, because we know Kfar Aza is really, really a dangerous place when it is starting, and Zdenitsan is a little bit inside. And a friend of Raviv, my husband, he told me, if you go now, you will be killed, you will be dead, so don't go. So as a mother, of course, I like Mika said, you are not realizing what's happening exactly. I didn't believe what's happened in all this morning, and especially in 10:44 that we just stay like this. No, okay, we don't know nothing. So we started to look in hospitals and try to locate him and find out if I'm a nurse, so I have friends in the hospitals in Israel. I try all my connections, form, the safe room. We call the police, we call the army, we try to find people from the army that we know. In Israel we know each other. So we started to find out if he is in the hospital, maybe he came unconscious, maybe he cannot talk, so he's gingy, he has red hair and many tattoos as a rock drummer, but nobody saw him. The feeling, I don't know to tell you the feeling, I think I didn't feel nothing then. I just would act. We were really acting just to know something, to find something. I didn't have time to understand what I'm feeling in that moment, that day.
When did you start to feel? Was it that when the text message, when you understood that he was in Gaza?
It's a good question. I felt, I like choose what to feel. I made myself feeling hope from day one, from maybe day two, because day one, I tell you, I was like a machine. But day two, after I start to understand that there's no connection with him, maybe something happened to him, something very terrible, but we didn't know. So I could break, but I decided that I must have hope. And until I will not hear the terrible thing that he is dead, I will continue to hope. And that's what saved me. I just choose to imagine that he's alive, that he's okay. And that's what I'm doing until now. I'm always on the hope side. I feel, of course, I'm worrying, but I don't let it control me.
We were talking beforehand, and you were sharing with me what compelled you to come to Australia and to share this message at this time. Would you like to share with everyone?
I came to Australia after last week I was in London, and I understood that in Israel everybody in Israel understands the situation. I don't need to talk in Israel about my son, because everybody is like Israeli son. In Israel everybody is doing everything to help us, and I understood that we need the help of our community in the diaspora, and also people in other countries, to understand what is going on in Israel and what happened really, and that the people will not forget. In Israel nobody forget, and nobody will forget that. But it was very important for us, for my family, that our voices will be heard in the world. And when people will see us in private, like see my eyes and see me, they will remember Yotam and all the others, and cannot forget it after you see and hear the stories from the first hand.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your story with us. I want to move on to Ophir Tamir and Amit Papara. Ophir and Amit are both close friends of Noah Agamani, 26, and her partner Avinatan, or 30. Noah and Avinatan were at the Supernova Music Festival in Haim when the Hamas terror reign began. Later video emerged of Noah, which I'm sure we've all seen, widely circulated by the international media, kidnapped on the back of a Hamas motorbike, her arms outstretched toward Avinatan as she played with her captors, "Don't kill me." Ophir and Amit, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And tell us a bit about your friends.
Hello everyone. So I'm Ophir, this is Amit. We study with Noah in Beersheba, in Ben Gurion, engineering. Noah, she's a really good friend. I travel with her in India. I bring a photo of us. This photo with Noah in India, in Dharamsala. 1 year ago, you can look in Noah, she lovely, she loved the world. If there is one word to describe her is freedom. So for us it's really ironic that she are not in Israel now and she kidnapped.
I know Noah also from university. I remember getting into the university, the first 2 weeks I didn't know anyone. And she kind of adopted me from that moment. We started hanging out and then she invited me to all the parties and she put me in her group and we became friends very quickly. She is a very friendly person, a very loving person. Yeah.
What do you both know of Avinatan and Noah's story on October 7?
So on October 7, I was at home. The missiles woke us all up at around 6:30. It was kind of not ordinary that missiles were firing to Israel, to Tel Aviv, while it's kind of a ceasefire, right? And so we started seeing the news, and then I saw there's missiles everywhere. So we said on the news, and then I saw there's terrorists getting into Israel from friends, sending videos on WhatsApp. I had a lot of friends at that party, kind of around 7 people. So I started texting all of my friends, seeing what happens there, because no one talks about the festival. Everyone talked about the kibbutzim, and I was like, there's a festival there, no one knows there's a festival. So I tried to talk with them and try to understand what's happening. 2 of my friends, I talked to them, they got out. At around 10, they were already at home, and I talked to Noah. We texted back and forth. She told me there's dead bodies, there's shootings everywhere. She doesn't know what to do. She's running, hiding. She was with her boyfriend Avinatan, and they were both. At the end, they were hiding in a ditch about 4 or 5 kilometers from the festival, closer to the border. At around 10:37, exactly 10:37, she sent me a live location of her and a message saying that she's praying that someone will save her. That's the last text that I got. At first I was like, this is Israel. What do you mean by not saving? Like, where are you? What does it mean you need someone to save you? You can come back home. So I tried, sending the location to the military, to the police, seeing if someone can come and save her. And then I started seeing the live location moving. I thought maybe she was hiding or running somewhere else. But I understood she was getting closer to the border. I understood she was getting dragged into Gaza Strip. Kind of lost it at that moment.
What's going through your mind at that moment?
Well, it was kind of a disbelief. I thought maybe someone stole her from me. And I remember a friend sent me a video of her drinking water. And it was before the video with the motorcycle. And I thought, he said, if it's Noah, she's in Hamas' hands. And I'm like, dude, don't tell me fake stuff, not now. And then I got the video of her. Because at first, you don't believe it, right? Seeing your friend, you don't think that someone will drag her into there. But then there was a video of her getting kidnapped on a motorcycle. And she was, we saw it at around 1:30 p.m. That's when we really understood that she was getting kidnapped. And I don't know, it's a feeling of everything. Helplessness and anger and disbelief.
Have you received do you have any information as to how they are now, their whereabouts? Any updates?
For now, we don't have any information. We're waiting, some of the hostages come back to Israel and we're waiting for updates. I and Amit, also before we come to Australia, we were in Denmark and Holland. We try to do the best, talking in the voice of the family. Noah's mother has brain cancer in level 4, and she's the only daughter. We continue until she will come back. So all the time when you come to places like the parliament, we're talking about the Red Cross, that we want to know information about Noah and about the other hostages. So no, we don't know.
And we hope to, that they received notice that when hostages came back, they received notice that they were with them in captivity, like with Yotam and with Amit. So we're hoping that someone that will come back now who can tell something.
And I understand as well we have a video from Noah's father, Yaakov, to show.
Yeah. I'll try to translate it.
שלום רב,
Hi,
קוראים לי ארגמני יעקב.
this is
אני
Yaakov.
אבא של נועה ארגמני,
He's the father of
כרגע
Noah,
בשבי החמאס של
and then
עזה.
she's kidnapped in Hamas.
אני מבקש לומר לכם
He asks
שנועה
you
ארגמני היא הבת היחידה שיש בשבי.
this is their only daughter,
המצב של נועה, ליאורה,
and the stage of Yora's condition is very bad.
אין הרבה זמן.
There's not a lot of time for her.
המשאלה של אשתי היא לראות את נועה ולו פעם אחת.
My wife's wish is to see Noah one last time, that her mother will see her one last time.
אני פונה
My one ask is to help me get her back.
לממשלה שלכם ולראש הממשלה.
I want to say to the people, to the government, please do everything in your power to get her back. For it's the way. Please help us. Israel, help us get reunited as our only daughter, and I really thank you for all the effort that you do and all the listening for us, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both for being here.
I just want to say something. We are strong. Everyone here is very strong. We will continue until Noah will come back. And also the reason we are here that we want also you to be strong. We need your support, and we need you continue with the support. Like we are both two, but we are like 3 days here, and we get a lot of support. A lot of people come with us and try to help. And it's important for us also that you continue to be strong.
want to move on to Tali. Tali Kisner is the mother of Segev Kisner, 22, who was tragically murdered by Hamas terrorists at the Supernova Music Festival on October 7. Tali, first of all, we're so sorry for your loss. Would you mind telling us a little bit about Segev as a person?
Well, we know for each mother, every child in the world, so it's difficult to describe Segev because he was a world. Very talented, very smart, funny, with extraordinary sense of humor. He just, between his friends, he was known for the great ability to, if you have made any sentence, any comment, just not in place, you would be smashed. So, and he was, somehow has an enormous amount of charisma, and he was entering the room, and you always knew that he was there. He was drawing the attention, and always surrounded by many, many people, many friends. And of course, for his younger brother and sister, he was somebody, that they were admiring, and they're still admiring and will admire him for the rest of their days. And for us, it was a challenge to raise him. Those clever guys, I'm sure that all of you have at least one over him like that at home. And he was one hell of a child. And I think that God sent him to us to make us better, to make us the possibility to learn how to be the parents. There are no schools to be parents, unfortunately. Thanks. But he was the kid to educate us how to be better.
And I understand Segev's actions on October 7 were heroic.
I don't know whether you can call this heroic or not heroic. It's the matter of semantic and definition. He wanted to go to the party. He would go there by fate because he was crazy about trance music, and this was a very important international event. There were DJs from different parts of the globe, and there were more than 4,000 people there from different ages, different religions. It was kind of extraordinary festival. And on October 7th, they left home. He and his friends. He was in the car. There were 5 kids in the car. I yelled that they were raised together, Alon and Segev, and there were 2 more kids. They went out of our house at 2 a.m. in the morning, and they got to the party because they wanted to see the dawn. There was this thing that I was explained that it is very, very cool to see the dawn, just to get there to the party. And they managed to dance only 1 hour before the terrible attack began. They found themselves very fast in the shelter, and they didn't know that those shelters would become the death trap. So, you can say that he was heroic. I see this as he got the bullets, that maybe if he won't there, his friend won't survive. I don't know. But I think that I'm here trying to make his terrible death somehow more meaningful, to make people understand that this terror is something that can't be seen, not ever, not again.
I guess as a mother, what compels you, further to what you're saying there, what compels you to be here and to spread that message when so much of the media reporting, particularly in the broader mainstream media, is not fair or favourable towards Israel?
I think that the most important thing is that, first of all, we're getting a lot of very warm embracement. I do not know, I do not remember in 3 days that we're here, any meeting that we were not welcome, that we didn't get any warm human response, human touch, you know. People understand that our loss is terrible. But more than that, I think that everybody here, because we want to explain to the world, by your support, by everybody in this room and in all other rooms that we already have been and we're going to be there, that Israel and its people have the right to live. We have the right to raise our kids. We have the right to raise them without being shot. We have the right. We have the right to defend them. We have the right to defend our houses, our beloved. And I think that this is the main narrative that we want to spread out by ourselves and of course by you.
Thank you so much. Next we have Elad Levy. Elad is the uncle of Ronnie Eshel, 19, who was serving in the IDF in the 414th Battalion Border Protection Corps, a predominantly female unit at the Nahal Oz Army base near the boundary of Gaza. On October 7, terrorists breached the base perimeter and set fire to the command centre building. For 34 days, Ronnie was listed as missing before her remains were identified through forensic pathology. Elad, I'm so sorry for your loss also. Can you tell us a little bit about your niece?
Sure. Ronnie was a 19 years old teenager. She was a teenager and very much the next door neighbor, like any of your teenager girls. She liked Taylor Swift and Harry Styles, and she went to concerts. Recently, she went to the Maroon 5 concert in Israel, and some music and parties. And also she used to, she loved to do pranks. That's my brother-in-law, her uncle, her other uncle. They used to get each other, silly pranks. And actually the last one that she pulled on all of us was the eve of Sukkot, the first Sukkot, a week before. There was a big dinner party, big Sukkot party in our place. And she sent us a picture, random picture in the WhatsApp group of her father and brother in the airport. And we were like, what? And she's like, yeah, they're going to Ibiza. Like her brother is like 13, her father is 50 plus. And she's like, yes. And this is like in the family group. And, I set up the table. I left the two seats, I didn't prepare the 2 seats, and all of a sudden they come in. It was weird. And she's like, you got us on this one, we'll get even to you. So this was the kind of girl she was. You've seen some of the pictures with their friends, and they got silly there. Obviously, they were very professional, but on their free free time. They got silly, they went to the Nahal Oz kibbutz to help with the avocado, season. So that was the kind of girl she was, like many others.
Yeah. What do you know about what happened at Nahal Oz on October 7?
What we know now is something that took us 5 weeks to gather information. As you said, for 5 weeks she was considered missing, which is a terrible situation to be in. It's really been hanging between, land and air. And every day you get a new information that can throw you either way, either extreme hope or a desperate news, but you learn to live with it. What we learned is that 6:30 was the rocket attack, and they were attacked severely. At around 7, about 100 terrorists, Hamas terrorists, started to break in and attacked. They overwhelmed the Israeli forces. They were outnumbered, the IDF force. And at around 7:30 or 7:45, they got into an area where the other friends that weren't on a shift basically it was a bomb shelter, but it was open. They fought with them. Some of our female soldiers from a different unit. 10 of them were able to escape. The others were murdered, and 7 of them were taken hostages. And then they moved to the SCP, and for 3 hours they had a fight with 3 Israeli soldiers. One of them is a Bedouin, who basically, and 2 or 3 other Golani soldiers, that basically they fought them until they ran out of ammunition. But still Hamas couldn't get in there, and they started to burn it. At that time were 22 soldiers. Most of them were female soldiers. They're non-combat, they don't carry weapon. 7 of them managed to escape. At some point, we believe it's around 11, we don't know the exact details. There was a very thick fire, smoke that spread, that they couldn't breathe and they couldn't see anything. And at that point, they all tried to escape. 7 of them managed to escape, but not Ronnie and her friends. I would say that in this particular, from her Ronnie units, there were 26 female soldiers. 7 of them were kidnapped, 3 survived. All the other 16 were killed that day. Of the 7 that were kidnapped, 1 was released by the IDF. 1 was brutally murdered by Hamas in captivity, in Shifa hospital. And 5 others are still remaining in captivity.
How is your family coping?
So, I really don't know how to answer, but I think it's, obviously the parents, it's a different level.
Sure.
They're very focused because the 5 weeks that we had since October 7 until we received the formal notice, we're very mission oriented, very much what Iris said. It's about first finding her and then being very active about finding out more and more facts, but also going out in the media, in Israel and globally. We're very active in that. And I think after the Shiva, and during the Shiva and after the Shiva, they formed the families. Now they have a family of 26 because they are all together in this. And the parents are very focused now about making, focused on how to remember Ronnie and the other 16 or 15, and also focused on getting the other 5 back with the rest of them, the all 160 that left in captivity. So I think it's helpful to be active and to be focused on the future, but at the end of the day, it's, especially for the parents, they wake up with the void, they go to sleep with the void. it's like we're learning to walk again.
Yeah. Just finally, is there, in being here, Melbourne, Australia, is there a message, obviously this is a very Jewish audience tonight, is there a message that you'd like to share with everyone and beyond that as well with the general Australian public?
I think that I actually would like to maybe take a little bit of a different view, that we have to remain optimistic. And I'm optimistic. And I think first because we have to, we must. This is the only way for us, I would say, as a nation, as a people, to go through these days. I'm very optimistic from the people that we met here, even with the politicians, but mostly with the support of the Jewish community and the Israelis that's in Australia. And then, you know, we have plenty of challenges ahead of us. We need to bring back all the hostages. We need to crush and wipe out Hamas. We need to rebuild the communities that were destroyed. We need to bring back the communities to their own villages. That's a challenge. We need to fix our military force. We need to fix our politics. We need to fix anti-Semitism in Australia and in the US and in the UK. And we need to work with the media and the politicians. There are a lot of challenges, and I'm sure we can, you know, it's going to take time, and we're now really in our low point, but we need to keep and be optimistic because we can change it. You know, 100 years ago we didn't have a country. We were at a far worse situation, and we came back, and I think we'll come back, we'll be stronger, we'll fight. All, you know, we're outnumbered. We've been outnumbered for like 3,000 years or maybe more, and we'll be outnumbered for the next 3,000 years, but we will, you know, we're a resilient people, we're a resilient nation, and I think that with all the, let's say it's heavy stuff, but we need to keep looking forward, and it's not just that our national anthem is Hatikva. That's our hope, and we should look forward for the future.
Thank you, Elad. Finally, we have Alon Kotler. Alon is a member of the kibbutz Kfar Aza. His family are founding members and are true believers in Ben-Gurion's vision for the Negev. Father of 2 daughters, he and his whole family survived the 7th of October massacre. Alon is a photographer and a cinematographer and has a short video to share with us of his beloved Kfar Aza. Thanks for being here with us, Elon. Tell us about October 7th for you and for your family and your community.
So, on the 6th of September, Faraza was at his peak. There was a waiting list of 2 years that people just want to come and feel my kibbutz. It's the perfect place to raise kids, open fields, kids feel safe to go to their friends by themselves. It used to be a collective kibbutz. Nowadays it's independent, so you can decide whether how to spend your money, but still we are keeping the values of the kibbutz, which is volunteering and coexistence. So we woke up to the sound of missiles on the 7th of October. We knew at the same moment that something different that we had experienced before. I had a guest from Caesarea, which is in the center of Israel. So we've been like 6 people in the bomb shelter, in the Mamad. My young daughter was next to me, and my old daughter, which is sitting over here, she's 9 years old. She stayed by my sister home, which is also in the kibbutz, not far from us, like 2 kilometers. Everything is close in the kibbutz. We are a close community. We know each other since the day we were born. Also, my family, I forgot to say, I'm the 5th of a family of 6 brothers and sisters. My cousins are part of the founders of the kibbutz, so our roots are over there. So my old daughter, she stayed by my sister. There is the funny house. She let children play and do whatever they feel like. And she also had a guest. And there were like 12 people in the bomb shelter. We heard the missile attack. There were maybe 100 of rockets above us. My father was in the fields. He did his morning walk. He sent us a picture of the rockets. Then he called to my sister. She told him, stay by the bomb shelter. I'm gonna send you rescue. My father ran from one shelter to another. I know him for 40 years. I never saw him running. So the rescue was Avi Indi, a member from the kibbutz, from the security team. He drove there under fire by the club car. He drove him by his home. He told him, Asher, I'm gonna go to fight. I'm gonna go to the armory. Avi never got to the armory. His vehicle is still standing there 2 meters from the armory, next to a lot of our friends from the security team. They gave everything they have, but they didn't have a chance. The too many of the terrorists. So half of the security team of Kibbutz Kfar Aza is gone. They all in the same status like I am, with young kids. Same time, we didn't understand that nobody spoke about terrorist infiltration. I remember we got a message from the pajama party that they're eating the jachnon, traditional Yaman food. They were smiling. I showed my guest the picture and just that they will be calm, stay calm. A few minutes, maybe half an hour, it's hard to tell because there was almost no communication. We got a message that Ophir Lipstein, the head of the regional council, which is a member of the kibbutz and also father of my daughter, one of her mates from class, was killed while he was trying to protect his own from terrorist attack. This was the game changer. Half an hour later, I got a message from my sister. The message was, "They are here, please help us. They are trying to open the door, save us." We tried to send, we just sent text message wherever we couldn't think that can help, but we were helpless. The coordinator of the kibbutz, I begged her, please send someone. She told me, Alon, we have a situation here. Also, my husband is wounded. We are doing the best. And we are sending forces in order to rescue them. I heard gunfire all the time. I was sure that these are our soldiers. Then we lost communication. And I knew that all the people in the Qassam, including that my young daughter, which is 6 years old, they're all looking at me. And I need to stay calm. And I have to, like Iris said, to keep the positive energy. And I remember my sister, she's practicing yoga. She told us, now you need to fight, you have to survive. I never heard her talk like that. They were in the mamad, 12 people. They had to go to the bathroom by the floor. They had no enough, they ran out oxygen. Actually, the terrorists took the house. There were 4 terrorists, and it's one of the. It's located in the western point of the kibbutz. So the Hamas terrorists took the house as a main headquarters. So they were busy in killing people outside, as you saw in the young generation neighborhood, which I had a room over there, and we grew up there, and so they were busy killing our young generation. And then they came back to the home. They ate, they smoked, they had enough time, came back, just back and forward, and tried to open the door. We had no communication for more than 3 and 4 hours, that all of our family trying to beg for help, and after like 4 hours, it was 4 noontime, they told us that they are trying to get there. It's hard. There are terrorists all over. In my worst nightmare, when you tell me about terrorist attacks, I think maybe 1, 2 terrorists, 300 terrorists conquered our kibbutz, my home, my family. So it took time to get there. The soldiers, they fought like lions. Many of them are lost their life. They got there around 8 o'clock. In 8 o'clock, they've been rescued. The soldier that opened the door, he saw there 12 people. He couldn't imagine there are 12 people. If they would have known that there are 12 people over there, they wouldn't give up. They hand the gun to my brother-in-law, which is the local manager of the market. They just hand him the gun to cover them up, and finally I could breathe. I wasn't worried about myself. I knew that if one person of the 12 people will die, I won't survive. I've been rescued after 4 hours, 5 hours. The army came to my home. They had to break the window. Then we just went there. There were flying bullets above us. We walked in a straight line, and you start to understand the massacre that we've been through. I see the neighbor next to me, and I see his home broke. Gabi's home is all broken. I keep looking, and I see Yav and Shani home. I know that Yav is lying over there, that he's dead. And in some point, my young daughter, Klil, she's holding my hand tight, and she tells me, Abba, please, don't look. We got to the last mile, then the soldier is telling me he's running. So we ran the last mile, and bullets were above us, and it was scary place. And there was a point that we met all the survivors, and you start to hug the first person that you see, and he's telling me that Eliku is dead, and you hug another person, he's telling you that Rui and Smagari Dan were murdered, and the two of their 3 children hid in the closet for more than 12 hours. Her daughter Abigail just went out with blood marks of her father outside. And it goes on and on, even nowadays.
We saw the footage of what a beautiful and bustling sense of Kfar Aza before October 7, and then to see the absolute destruction. I can't comprehend what it would have been like for you to go back there and capture that footage. Can you shed some light?
Kfar Aza, my arm is bleeding. It looks like a graveyard. You know, this is what I'm doing for my living, like to capture footage. So I just went there to my home and gave water to the plants. And you know, it's strange feeling. And it looks broke. Burned, it's got a bad smell, and it's nothing to compare like what is happening inside. And our community we lost 62 people. We know each other, we know everything. Been there in the first day of school, and people are walking like a ghost.
Is there any sentiment, or is it too early at this point amongst the people what the future of Kfar Aza might look like?
I think it will take at least 2 or 3 years to rebuild. Many won't come back. I'm not sure that my sister will come back. I don't know about my father. My plans are just for 1 or 2 weeks ahead.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, and we're so sorry for what your community has gone through and the sheer volume of loss. It's devastating. Thank you. That brings our conversations to a close this evening. Thank you to all of our guests for sharing so much of yourselves with us tonight. May there be brighter days ahead. We now have a special performance. A special musical performance, so please welcome Simon Starr and Karen Feldman.
באופק, מול ענן שחור כבד, כל שנבקש לו יהי. ואם בחלונות הערב או נרות החג רועד, כל שנבקש לו יהי.
Mika, Iris, Ophir, Amit, Tali, Elad and Alon. Your stories and your strength have left us almost speechless. We have all hung off your every word tonight, and yet none of us in the audience can really begin to comprehend the pain you have endured and are enduring. But please know that everyone in this room weeps and prays for you and your families. And we all appreciate that you, the people of Israel, and the brave young men and women of Tzahal are sacrificing and fighting not only for Israel, but for the Jewish people and indeed for the whole civilised world. We will never forget October 7th, and we will never forget or let the world forget the hostages until the very last is returned to their family. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for making the long journey to Australia. and for your incredible courage in sharing your stories with us and with the world. אנחנו מודים לכם, מחבקים אתכם ומשתתפים בכאב ובצער שלכם. אנחנו איתכם. Ladies and gentlemen, now please be outstanding for Hatikva.